Okay. Perfect. All right. So let's continue with the discussion here. It's about revelation from above. Okay. So Tabitha, before we took a break, let me just ask you, I need to interrogate further. What extent of the damage is this allegation to the DP?
Victor, I think at the moment still, we can't say that it's already doing a lot of damage.
No. Politically speaking, yes. And remember, the president spoke this, at State House with the 3,000 delegates from Mount Kenya. 3,000 is a big number.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, that there might be damage already, but not as huge as we would expect, because already a lot of people are reading, I'll say they're reading a malice into this, because it didn't back this with evidence. The only time that now this will go full blow, it's when now the president will come. I would expect that he'll come and address the whole nation and tell us about this, because we are equally, we also want to know who is this that's tried to jeopardize the government and even the life of the president. He said that he also came after his life. We want to know this as a country, and not just as a part of a particular part of the country. So as it is right now, there is now how we will look at the deputy president, especially the side that is aligned to Azimio. Now they have even more reasons why he should not be a president, if at all the deputy president is found culpable of committing such an offense under the Constitution of Kenya. But then as it stands still, actually he'll have a lot to lose if the president now goes full blow and spills the beans for the whole country back with evidence and things like that. So it's a trying moment for his image. It's a trying moment for him as a deputy president. But at the same time, he's been trying to taint the image of the president, claiming that he's somebody who does not keep his promise, is somebody who lies to people, and things like that. We have seen him campaign with the name of the president time and time again, painting him as the wrong person. And the president kept telling him that, wacha tu waonge, mimi kazi yangu ni kufanya kazi hizi. And now it's time for the truth. It's the truth meter, Victor. And yes, he's not going to like this particular tune. We are waiting to see now what awaits ahead of the president's revelation, yes.
But then, Hamisi, then at this particular point, then it means that the deputy president must be quite categorical and tactical in his moves, because the president is also now pulling those secret cards one by one. Remember what happened at the KICC that season, the day of Nitoboy and Nisitoboy. We all remember that. Yes. And then Kasarani and Sagana 3, and now Saturday again. He's pulling these secret cards one by one.
Very, very strategically. Very strategically. And I want us to go back to the 48 Laws of Politics by Robert Greene. And I think the deputy president should have read some of those laws to be able to assist him look at the situation. And he still has time to do that. Because the moment something went wrong in 2018, 2019, I think there was time for the deputy president to address those issues. Then he waited and he went right into Kiambu, into the bedroom of the president politically. And you could see people in the region, especially in the county where the president comes, they are all saying the deputy is better than the current president. The mountain people were saying no services were being rendered to the mountain. You see, that was the political language. I think now the president is coming back to say, yes, this, that, response, that. So Robert Greene says, please, when the leader is on the chair, never attempt to overthrow him, never attempted to surround him with politics. So we need to see, and it's coming, because I think what you said is good. These strategies are, you release one at a time, you feel the effect, you evaluate the effect, you release another one, and then there is the big one coming. The big one coming will just finish him in terms of politics. when it comes to personal, this is where the Kenyans say, let it be political, but not too personal. Mention certain names right now, names beyond the people we're talking about, names of the relatives, names when it becomes muddy. And if it becomes muddy, there's an effect. The other effect is there was a wave. Almost all of us were saying, oh, the deputy president has already swept the mountain and also the country. He has the keys. But I think the keys were given to somebody who gave the keys back to Uhuru. All the doors have been opened now. So it's an open field. Even our candidates in the studio should just go and campaign so that there's no lock anywhere. What we need to hear is, I'm asking for your votes. I'll be able to do this. These are my strategies. These other things should come later. But between the two, now the war is between the president and his deputy. You can see that Honorable Raila Odinga is, in Mombasa, we say he's floating in the political wave. And with no problem. In fact, there's no hassle. There's no buckle wherever he is. So yeah, I think that's a diversion so that the deputy fights the president while we are campaigning for the presidency. And it's going to be very interesting as we go along. Okay. There were indications earlier, and the deputy president didn't see that when the president said, please go slow, let's work and then politics will come by. Don't tanga bits. And, those were some indications which were not well read because the information was already there. We saw the division in parliament. We saw BBI's effects. We saw, so these things are there, and now it's going to be very hot. I'm using that word politically. It's going to be very, very hot for the deputy president to handle this. You can see the people who have migrated to the Jubilee and Azimio. It's almost half of the country is already gone. Okay. So maybe the remaining part will come.
Okay. You know what, Wanjiru? The deputy president yesterday in Kilifi said that all these allegations are lies and propagandists. The president, so basically the deputy president is saying that, okay, you're a politician and I know the tactic you're using, so be it. Yeah. Whatever you're saying is baseless.
The president will have a tough time convincing Kenyans why he made the decision to part ways with the deputy president on the grounds that the deputy president attempted to impeach him. Yes. And then on the other side, he decides to shake hands with the very same person who tried to hold a parallel swearing in after the election. Yes. So, I mean, what was the strategy here?
It was a drastic shift. It was a drastic shift because nobody saw that coming. Until now, you're asking the same question. Yes. I mean, we didn't see that coming. 1 minute, this is a person who took you to court, nullified your election, took to the streets. You remember the tear gas Mondays? And then all of a sudden we are now friends. Yes. That's politics, what you can say, all right? Yes. Yeah. Continue.
I mean, at that time you would also appreciate the fact that Right Honorable Odinga quite a number of people in parliament, parliamentarians who had been elected under the ODM ticket. Yes. And so at any moment,
way back it was NASA. Yes, it was NASA.
Yes, it was NASA at that point. And at any moment he could have actually frustrated the operations of the government as well. Yes. So all of these are just mere allegations. At this point, at this juncture, these are mere allegations. Remember, the president began by saying it was the fact that he could not work with the deputy presidents because of his integrity issues. And then now he has shifted on, and he was very categorical about what issues these were. Yeah. And then now he has gone on to talk about the impeachment. These are there are so many allegations flying around, and at a very crucial time when these allegations will tilt the voter in one way or the other.
Yes.
So that is why the president's utterances are coming into question at this time. Why now?
But okay, Tabitha said, why not now? You know, in terms of strategy in politics, strategy is key, and how you attack your opponent is your business, because you just need to ambush. Don't give your opponent some signs that, you know what, I'm coming to attack you. You just ambush. But nonetheless, you know, it's the same question I've asked Tabitha, because is it a point of now pulling the cards? I've asked Hamisi, the same time you're pulling the cards, we had Sagana 3, what he said, we had what the president said at KICC again on Saturday. So what next remaining? Are we, because an impeachment is a serious allegation, so what are we expecting next then?
And you know, the other thing I'm taking, you know, concern over the manner in which the president is relaying this information is that their emotions are very, very key when it comes to politics.
Yes.
And a politician knows how important it is for them to control the emotions of the masses when it comes to persuading a person to vote one way or the other. And so this act of, you know, pulling one card at a time and leaving the people in suspense, that is in itself a strategic move to, you know, to keep the people anticipating, anxious,
yes,
you know, and I don't think that it's even healthy for the voter at this particular moment. It's not healthy. So, and that is why I'm still going back to, are we considering the voters when are we considering the country? Are we considering our citizens when we are doing these actions, when we are making these allegations?
But politically probably it's working for the president and his handlers and advisors. You know?
Of course it is.
The voters will not mind about, oh, okay, so what next? We're waiting. The president said that my deputy tried this and that again, so what next?
Yeah, I mean, it really does cause some level of anxiety. It causes some level of anxiety. Remember that at this particular point, the deputy president...
Are we expecting a lot of another Toboa, you know? Because it seems that as we speak, the president is now all out, flat out.
Yes, Victor. This is what I would want to say, that there is no problem, politically viewing it, there is no problem with what the president is doing and how he's decided to deliver this kind of information to us. There is no problem at all, because he has not incited anybody. He hasn't incited anybody to get out there and, you know, try and do this and this because this was done. He's just taking his time, a day at a time, and I know at an opportune time, because you tell me the president also has his own advisors, political advice. So maybe this is the way they have, and have no problem. I also don't have a problem with the timing. Why is the timing wrong? I would want it to be known. Apart from just the fact that it's a political time and the country's on heat and things like those, what again is that the reason why this timing is wrong? The president hasn't done anything wrong in terms of timing to bring this information. And in fact, it's, I think, one of the reasons why he maybe chose this time, because he's been working. The president has been working. We have seen the levels of development we have been able to experience under his tenure, especially this second term, having joined hands with the opposition and forming the government in a way that is conducive for all Kenyans in a very peaceful way. So I will not say that the timing is very bad. The timing is that the president, in fact, he said it. He has already answered the question during the Kasarani, the Azimio NDC, when he said that he was in the office working and he could not come out at that particular time of work and state things politically, because his deputy president was already politically out there selling himself and his manifesto to the people, the bottom up and the likes. So the president was busy delivering to Kenya, and we will say the president has delivered, maybe not 100%, but he has tried his best. And it's been very well, especially when they join hands with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. So the timing is not an issue. The only issue we have is the evidence, and that is what we are waiting for as Kenyans. And if it is true, then, Victor, as you asked me earlier, this is going to hit hard on the deputy president, because either if it is now or even if it was done at that particular time, believe me, There are people who support him, but they do not, but they will not align with this integrity issue of him trying to impeach the president and other utterances that the president had made. So I will not, as I said, I will not read calls into this because, again, we cannot say that it's a false thing if and it has not been proven. We literally are waiting for the evidences. And once they're out, then Victor, I think we'll be back here to say that as a people, as a country, that is not the direction we want to go. That you cannot, I said, I remember the other time when, on Friday when we are having, on Wednesday when we were having this discussion, and one panelist also raised the question of now, why is it that the president was not supporting his deputy, and yet he had claimed to give him yangu kumi, yako kumi, and it changed all of a sudden. And we stated categorically that there must be much than what meets the eye. And the president and the deputy president are the people who knows the truth. So we're literally waiting. This is going to be a very interesting time to be alive in this particular country. And we want to see that nobody is accused on false grounds. Evidence is what we want. And if it's evidence, then there is no wrong with timing or with the season as it is.
Tabitha, when you talk about timing and evidence, I would also put to question this one. The deputy president has been calling Right Honorable Odinga Mganga, so we cannot say how Mganga, the paraphernalia, and it's we can just treat it as politics. But then, Hamisi, allow me to put it this way.
Yes.
The deputy president the other day said that he was asking the president not to use the same sword they used during their time in campaigning. So perhaps the deputy president is so much aware of that sword, quote unquote. Was he expecting this to come?
Yes and no, because this is very interesting period. There was one time one politician in Kenya said, I don't have to say anything, read my lips. I think people are told now to read the lips. The president may not go beyond what he has already said. But if we read the lips, then we say there's something under the water. And when you see the water so cool and it's not moving, don't put your leg there. It's deep. Yes. It's deep. So, yes, this is what would happen. Right now, the gloves are off. People are going to fight bare hands. And it's your word against my word. I was reading the paper, say, whom do I believe? Do I believe the president, or do I believe the deputy president? Or do I believe the people who are saying about the deputy president and also about the president? So this is a very trying time for all of us. But there must be something beyond what Tabitha said is very good. There must be something by the time somebody speaks. There must be something that was under the ground for a long time. And I use the concept of timing and strategy. When do I respond to this? Is it the right time to respond? And what part do I respond? Do I respond everything, or do I give one part? So as we stand right now, we cannot blame the president and we cannot blame the deputy president. The deputy president is looking forward to getting this seat, and therefore he will use all the means and possible strategies to be able to do that. But the president wants to finish this race nicely and have a legacy that when I was there, I did X, Y, Z. So when we interfere with that process, it is like sabotaging. And the concept of sabotaging, somebody can hit back. Say, when you sabotage me, in the process, I'll sabotage you before you enter the process. So this is a war, political war, as you say, and therefore the warriors behind, and the worst people are the people behind the warriors. Those people who say, Toboa. When you are fighting in Mombasa and say, Piga, somebody else said Piga, but he's not the one fighting. He's inciting you to Piga, so it depends on how you Piga. This is about area. So he's coming to tell his people facts before he comes to tell the nation. The information will reach us, because whatever language you use, if you use Kijaluo, I will ask Tabitha, what did the Mkubwa say? If you use Kikuyu, I'll ask Wanjiru, Mkubwa anasema nini? So the information will reach us. And it is better that way than the big information coming to you straight. Because now let it be sifted, let it come softly, because it can be a bang.
Okay, so let's just assume that had Mathai MP, that is Peter Kimari, was not there at State House, they perhaps would have not known what happened. But here we are. How will it affect the voters in the long run, Wanjiru?
Like I said, it's not a very pretty picture that two people were elected together, they campaigned together, they sold a certain manifesto which they had promised to implement together, and one goes behind the other's back and tries to impeach the other.
Yes.
I mean, it's the highest level of disloyalty next to, any attempts to assassinate the president. So this is just a question of loyalty, and can the deputy president be trusted with the highest office in the land?
Yes.
If he can do whatever it takes to remove a person from power. Remember, this is a president who people. It would appear as though he's trying to subvert the people's will in terms of who they want as president. So that is also denying them the opportunity of, being served by the president who they rightfully chose. Yes. And that action of subverting that is also something that would bring discredit to the deputy president, and also
and perhaps not even to Kenya alone. When such a statement comes from the president, you remember the international community is watching. Yes.
I mean, again, like I said, it's very hard to decipher what is propaganda and what is real. And the only thing that would set these two apart is, can you give us evidence? Show us the evidence. Show us something. And to date, nothing has been tabled. So we can only treat it as allegations. And in any court of law, everyone is presumed innocent. We cannot now begin to cast aspersions which we cannot validate by tabling evidence. So the president has a very heavy task to convince Kenyans whether whatever it is that he is saying about his deputy is actually true or false.
Yes. But when these 3,000 delegates go to the ground and they speak to the people, you know what? This is our man. We elected him. We come from the mountain, and his deputy tried ABCD. How will it affect the voters with all the 3,000 delegates going to the ground and hitting the ground, running, campaigning, and perhaps selling the message? And maybe they had a particular message taken to the people.
I think that what would really tilt the voters, what would really persuade the voter to vote one way or another, is who has put them in the current situation that they are in.
Yes.
And everyone's integrity has been put to question. If you look at the KEMSA scandal, for example,
exactly,
the president promised Kenyans that within 21 days, this matter would be tabled before Parliament. A report would be issued, and all perpetrators who are mentioned in that report, actions will be taken against them. And we are still yet to see that. So that in itself casts certain, character or integrity, question into about the president. So everyone's integrity here is at question. So if you go to the voter, for instance, and say, oh, the deputy president tried to impeach the president, at the very best, it's going to be treated as propaganda. It will be treated as, at this particular stage, it will be treated as propaganda, unless evidence is tabled. And the voter is not as gullible as you would imagine. They know it is political season. They know that there are certain interests that are at stake, and that all principals involved will do whatever it takes to protect certain interests, including selling propaganda in order to sway one vote to the other.
That sounds like what the deputy president said yesterday. And we can only say that politicians know each other very well. You counter one another, then I counter. That's the name of the game. Yes. I don't know how you people play it, but anyway, you try to outsmart your opponent. Yes. Tabitha, I'm still asking the question of where the message came from. When Mathai MP, that is Mathai MP Peter Kimari, who was there, it came from an unlikely quarter, the mouthpiece. You know, can we believe the source? The source?
In the analogy of a river, the river has to have a source, of course, for it to, you know, even form this.
Okay. Tabitha, I said the governor should invest on network in Siaya County. We'll be back with you shortly. Let me just go straight to Hamisi. Hamisi, again, the issue of the source and how the voters will be affected in the long run. Well, it's political season and anything can sell. But how will this affect the decisions that, you know, the deputy president has made moves in the mountain region, and perhaps when we hear the 3,000 delegates coming from the mountain region and they're being told such things, they are going back to tell the voters, you know what, this is what the boss said, and we have to get the message straight. Hamisi.
Recording in progress.
Victor.
Yeah, Tabitha is on. Is it?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
No. Take it away. Hamisi.
Okay. I think politics is what it's all about. When something is spoken so many times, people seem to believe.
Yes.
For example, I'll give you a good example. This example of that Honorable Raila Odinga is to use the Swahili word for inimchawi. So it has been said so many times until now, some people believe huyu jamaa ni mchawi kweli. Most people are going to his team. So the allegations, this propaganda, when it is spoken so many times by people, you tend to believe there's something happening. So now it's time for politics. And my dear sister said illegal politics requires that you give evidence. In political court, everything is possible, including propaganda, including says you wanted to do this, and my people will believe actually you wanted to do this. So it depends on the persuasion of the person. And I said earlier, read the lips. You don't have to say everything. If Hamisi said this, and there are some people who are believing in him, and they propagate that saying is going to be like fire. And now is the time that we need to stick. That's why I said the lieutenants behind these leaders should now bring it down and say, okay, politics, no politics, let's concentrate on development. Let's concentrate on what we want to offer when we come in. If I was advising the deputy president, he should just go to every part of Kenya and say, when I come on top of this place, I'll do X, Y, Z, rather than responding. Because now he's all the time responding, and he may even lose his idea of my program, my project. He will just be responding, because tomorrow somebody else will say, and then he responds. It's going to delay and derail him also. So, believe or not to believe, in politics, everything is possible. Again, we're talking about political strategies. They may not be even legal. Situations where you need to sell the propaganda, they may not be even legal at all. But people will take it in because they have been presented to that one. They've been presented with the issues that will affect them. So people say, if the deputy president takes over and he has been doing this, and for the last 3.5 years has not been supporting the president, is it okay? Are we questioning that one? Does it reflect in the next dispensation when a deputy president does not support the president, is it okay? So there are so many questions also on both sides, as my sisters have said. But now is the time. Kenyans, please open your eyes and ears, make a selection, make an election here so smoothly, make a decision based on the facts and the information we get. Legal information will come when people are now...
All right. Okay. So, Hamisi, let's take a break. And when we come back on the final stretch of this discussion, we'll discuss more on the issue of personality test. The deputy president's personality has been put to test, and the way you're putting it, many questions are now being asked. What if? We'll discuss that later on after this break. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay. Welcome back. And now, home stretch. What is the effect of personality test on the deputy president as far as this allegation is concerned? Wanjiru?
I think Kenyans are quite honestly, Kenyans are also very exhausted about all these allegations. But most importantly, I think Kenyans have had the worst of the worst. This is not the first propaganda that has hit the ground. You know, earlier on, we have been hearing allegations from afar that, you know, the deputy president has made attempts to assassinate the president. So when that actually gets to the common mwananchi, I mean, that to me, that is the worst of the worst that someone can attempt to do. So I feel like Kenyans have even become desensitized towards, you know, any allegations that is flung or made against the deputy president. And it has now reached the point where the mwananchi is even saying, tunataka huyo mwizi, you know? These are after, you know, allegations had been made against the deputy president, stating that his integrity is in question because of the various scandals that he's been involved in.
Yes.
And yet Kenyans have remained firm and said, huyo ndio ule mwizi tunataka, tumeshaamua ni huyo mwizi. So Kenyans are slowly becoming desensitized to all these things that are going on.
Yeah.
Because who are we going to trust? Who are these? From where is this allegation coming from?
Yes.
Is it coming from a credible source that Kenyans can be like, if this person says it, then it must be true? Because the president's credibility has also come into question.
Exactly.
So Kenyans are left wondering, okay, so who then do we believe? So I do not foresee that it will really change the president's, the deputy president's, you know, reputation in the eyes of the common mwananchi. No.
Okay. You know what, Tabitha? The question of who do we trust, the way she's putting it, Wanjiru is putting it, who do we trust? And mwananchi is already used to the situation. Okay, sawa, what's next? Next, that is my question to you, Tabitha.
First of all, Victor, allow me to respond to the guest in studio.
Yes,
when she says that she has already dismissed this as a propaganda. And I thought we had the same conversation when she said that we cannot dismiss it entirely as a fallacy or whatever until it's proven and the evidence. We were supposed to wait for evidence, remember? So I think we are not still moving from that. We cannot.
We have to wait for evidence in politics, Tabitha. In politics, there's no evidence.
Yes, we can't dismiss it.
If it's sold well and good, if it doesn't sell, sawa.
Sawa. Maybe it's not one of those things that need to sell. The things, you know, as we said, this is a very heavy issue that literally holds ground. So it has to be proven. So because we are waiting for events to unfold, then we cannot sit down here and dismiss it as a propaganda. Until we get there, then we say it's a propaganda, and then we shall bring politics into it. Also, another thing, when you talk about Kenyans, I've decided that the Muizi is the person they want to elect as the president. I didn't say he's a Muizi, you're the one who brought that forth. Then you'll be misleading many Kenyans, because I personally, or many other Kenyans, they also have their own decisions of whom they want to be their president. So literally, you're not speaking for the many thousands or millions of Kenyans. I will say that on personality trials or personality tests, Victor, the personality of the president has been tainted by the deputy president. We have seen it time without number. When he's come out and called him names and called him a betrayer and called him what, and said that he's using the government funds to, try and fund the presidential campaign for Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, with no proofs to all grounds for it. We have seen him also say that the president literally just dismissed him out of office. Even himself, he never gave us a reason. Actually, I think the deputy president needed to tell us why, at what point did they fall out, because if he was part of the government, which he was part of the government, they were elected, the two of them, as the senior most people in the executive with the people of Kenya, then he needs to also play accountability on his part and come forth and tell us, I am going to be in a position, because he started being in a position quite a time ago when the handshake happened, because this and this and this. It was so bare for him to just tell us it's because the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga was brought into the government and he was sidelined. He was sidelined on what grounds? So we ought to see him come. He should even call a press conference and be composed enough. And as he responds to the president, he does it in a way that he convinces the people. As so far as I'm concerned, the president spoke the other day, the deputy president spoke yesterday in his defense. Literally, he's not convincing enough that this is a propaganda. He literally also needs to call for an evidence-based conversation on this particular matter, rather than just dismissing it as something that the president or the government is trying to sell their own project, which is Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. So as it plays, the president's image has already been tainted by his deputy. And now, I think now, it serves the deputy president right for him also now to be called accountable, especially if he's found guilty of treasonry. And it's not something that Kenyans will take slightly. And Victor, just allow me to mention this. In the voters' basket, there on Wednesday, as we were discussing about the effects of the president coming in to support his own presidential candidate, and they were saying that he was trying to force him on the people of Kenya. Remember that this particular issue, if at all, it's proven to be true. It's not a propaganda, because it's only propaganda if evidence will not be brought forth. So if it's proven to be true, it will going to affect the voting patterns in the central Kenya in particular. Because you ask yourself, why is it that the president did not call even the elders from the Nyanza parts of Kenya, or even the central, or even the coast? He only had to call the elders from the central part of Kenya. So there is something about the voting pattern there that is going to shift with the time, only when it's proven. And even at the moment, believe me, as you said, that 3,000 is not a small number. And remember, these elders, I must believe, they're influential. So the message they're selling out there already is eating on the personality of the deputy president. And you can imagine the effect it will have when the evidence comes forth. So basically, for us as Kenyans right now, apart from all this and what the deputy president and his the president are trying to have the battles, us for us is to remain very peaceful. And another thing, we want leadership and not politics as much. What is it that the deputy president wants to sell for us to elect him as a president? So far, I would say that what we have seen him do is defend himself, like what Hamisi has said, is try to taint the president in bad image and respond here and there. He'll look very honorable if he'll continue to sell us and give us strategies on how he's going to implement so many things they call, and even his bottom-up economic model, which so many people are not alienated to. So we literally need to see ideologies being sold and the deliverables, not just politics. And that is not something we want to see us discussing even moving forward. That is the only thing he's going to be telling people when it goes from one rally to another and one rally to another, talking about other people. Let him come forth and tell us literally that as a deputy president, I want to be a president, and this is what I think I'll bring forth to the table. You know, for the president, Victor, he's already serving his time is ending in the office. So we can't literally say much about him as an individual, because nobody wants to vote him. he's already serving his term. So the deputy president literally has to sell himself, nothing short to us, for us to. It's not on a sympathy basis. So far, I think he's not doing quite well in terms of convincing us, even as youths, to give him votes as the next president of this country.
All right. Okay. Tabitha, I'll treat that as your parting shot. Yes, I'll treat that as your parting shot. Let me come to Hamisi from Mombasa. Hamisi, as they say, it's now a hard nut to crack, quite literally. In Mombasa, we all know how it's hard to crack that nut. So it must be a very hard nut to crack for the deputy president, at least now, to change the whole narrative that he tried to topple his boss in the mountain. Remember, he's been making a number of moves in the mountain, and he's gotten, his fair share from the mountain. And now he will have a lot of work to do to change the narrative. Hamisi?
Yes, and the personality issue is now there. Some people say the people we trusted, the person we trusted seems to have been doing something negative to the president. So to fight back for your personality in politics in the central province, the deputy president has a lot of work to do, and he should just do that work instead of, because now if you listen to you did this, he will be answering, like I said earlier, he will be responding to other issues, and he will be diverted from selling his case to the Kenyans. For example, in Mombasa here, we don't want, some of us who are listening to him so that he says, okay, when I come, I'll be able to do this. But when you come all the way from Nairobi, and you say you are now responding to somebody in Nairobi here, instead of telling us what would happen here, is strange. The other question we are asking is the deputy president is still the deputy president of Kenya. Has he been working? Is he still in office? Because some people will be asking, is he still in office or is he on the ground campaigning? So those are some of the things he should take care when he's making some statements. And he will just sell. If I was advising, please bring your blueprints. Even if it is half an hour, say this is what I'm standing for. Explain further. Bottom up has not sunk properly in some of us, and put it in Kiswahili. When you come to Mombasa and say bottom up, people have interpretation which will not give the same message. So maybe that is what he should do. When I say bottom up, I mean X, Z. Otherwise, here people have put it, opponents have put it negatively, completely.
So what is the Kiswahili version when you come to Mombasa? You're becoming mischievous here. All right. So, advisory, as an old man, I advise that deputy president should that's a good point. But then, so what I'm trying to say is that the deputy president should be unpredictable, because he should not be so quick to answer to some punches directed to him. Like, for example, he came to Mombasa. Perhaps he came to Mombasa because he had planned to come to Mombasa, to Kilifi, and do a tour, and his, notes and the pointers to address when he land there. So perhaps he should not be more predictable, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He should be able to say, I'm here. In fact, let somebody else do some homework of analysis to give him some response. So he just comes here. He must have had an agenda for us. He must talk to us in that language that we understand. He has his people who know Kiswahili. They should speak more than him, so that the people can say, oh, yes, that's what he wants. That's what he means. And like when he comes here and those people are after me, they are removing even some of the service. We don't know. We don't know whether they have or they haven't, and it's not necessary.
All right.
What is necessary is what will happen in the next few months. Yes.
Okay. Hamisi, allow me to cut you short on that particular point. Your network has a problem, but once we get it, I'll give you a second to finalize. All right. We are running out of time, but I'll be quite unfair if I want to do the ritual here. We have you in the show for the first time, and you're running for Kiambu constituency for the first time. You're throwing yourself into the ring, so to speak. I'll give you your time, as I usually do on the show, and I have a guest, so that you can talk to your constituents and probably sell them your manifesto. First of all, what is your manifesto?
Victor, you know, I've been as an advocate, I've been in practice now for 10 years.
Right.
And in this period of time as an advocate, my role was to represent my clients' rights in the court of law. And I can tell you that as an advocate, one of the biggest challenges that we have encountered is the manner in which these laws are drafted to begin with.
Yes.
In as much as you see a client is aggrieved, sometimes our hands are tied because the law of the land is what will be referenced by the court when a decision is made. And sometimes the law of the land is not fair. And so there is definitely a time has come where we need to shift our obligations of protecting people's rights in court to now protecting their rights in parliament by ensuring that the right legislation is what is being enacted. You will recall that there have been various conversations around about the manner in which the economy has been affected purely because of the legislations that have been passed and purely because of the role of the omission of parliament to follow the law, some of the laws that have been passed. So one of the things that I want to achieve as a member of parliament, should the people trust me with a mandate to represent them in parliament, is to restore integrity in parliament. We know for a fact that parliamentarians have been called to question on their integrity when it comes to passing certain motions. And we've even had some allegations that motions have been passed. I mean, these are allegations at this point, none have been proved. But we've had certain allegations that motions have been passed after certain parliamentarians have been under the influence of, receiving monetary gain for as little as even 10,000 shillings. And it is not fair to the common mananchi because these decisions trickle down to them. Think about energy. The laws that were passed that brought in certain companies which are now deemed as or referred to as IPPs, who are selling electricity at a cost that is unaffordable to the Mwananchi. Think about the issue of the projects that are being implemented. Are they being passed through Parliament? Is Parliament assenting to some of these budgets? So these things are trickling to the common Mwananchi. And the first order of business is to restore integrity so that the quality of living, the standard of living of the common Mwananchi. In
no particular order, give me maybe three your priorities a day after being sworn in as a member of parliament. I
think that my order of priorities, number one, is to give my constituents an opportunity to publicly participate in the manner in which the resources are going to be distributed. And this is something that I have noticed is not happening. There needs to be representation from each ward, there needs to be representation from each village, because at the end of the day, a parliamentarian is a representative, not a dictator. So the first order of business is to give each and every person within the constituency an opportunity to indicate which projects are a priority to them and which projects they want to be implemented first. And this could vary depending on what the legislation stipulates. Currently, the NGCDF Act says that it limits the certain projects that a parliamentarian can implement in the constituency. And this boils down to education, security, sports, perhaps even environment, and so on. So there's only a limited number of projects that a person can implement. So I will narrow down to I will narrow down to propagating on the implementation of projects that are geared towards training of the youth. I will narrow down to propagating on projects that will bring economic empowerment, especially towards the small enterprises. I will narrow down to upscaling security in areas where there's an issue of security. So those will be my three priority areas.
It's quite unfair that we don't have all other candidates here, but what makes you the best candidate for Kiambu constituency?
I think that what sets me apart from all candidates, I have never once had a candidate say that they will give the people an opportunity to say what projects they want to be implemented. Right. And it always seems as though a parliamentarian or member of parliament comes as a boss. Yes. And yet he is a representative. And so he needs to represent the wishes of the people. Let us not treat people as though they do not understand their problems and as though they do not have homegrown solutions. Yes. All right? So we need to give them first an opportunity to tell us which are these problems that are truly hurting them on the ground. And then after that, it is when now we can have a discussion on how best we can now bring this, we can now offer solutions to these problems that are affecting them. Yes.
Women are still fighting to find themselves on the negotiation table. For example, the 2/3 gender rule is still hanging. Anytime it's almost getting to the last stage, it's taken back. What's your take on that? Because it's still a big battle between other members. And
I think this issue needs to be observed at this very stage where we are having nomination. Every party needs to begins to justify whether at this present time they are meeting the 2/3 gender rule. And if they are not meeting the 2/3 gender rule, let them give reasons why they are not doing so. Is it because of intimidation? Is it because we have aspirants, women aspirants who are just failing to present themselves to the people? And if a woman aspirant presents themselves to the people for election, and you have a male counterpart who is also doing the same, what measures are they taking to ensure that they give the women a fair space to battle it out against their male counterparts? So it begins now during the nomination stage. Let the parties themselves justify whether they are indeed making any attempts whatsoever to implement the 2/3 gender rule.
Absolutely. Yeah. But the director says that I need to give just 5 seconds. Starting now, that is your camera 5, talk to your Kiambu.
I believe that I am able to carry out this mandate. I believe that I'm able to carry this mandate, and I hope that you will give me the opportunity to do so.
Absolutely. All right. Perfect. Kiambu people, you have her. And all other candidates, the choice will be yours come 9th of August. I think this is the best place to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for our guest, Tabitha Ogutu, via Zoom, all the way from Siaya, as well as Hamisi Mboga, who is a governance expert from Mombasa, and Wanjiru Mathai, for the first time to join us on the show. Welcome to the show one more time, and again and again and again.
Thank
and as always, we wish you all the best in your political battle. All right, and you as a viewer, thank you for your valid company. My name is Victor Low. We are not yet done yet. We are taking a break, but we come back. We still have got much more lined up for you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.